everyone, it's Arshdeep. You are watching FYI Media. And guys, VISAF, Vancouver International South Asian Film Festival is happening again this year. And guess what? Vancouver International South Asian Film Festival is virtual this year. It's happening on December 11th until December 13th. VISAF is a forward-thinking storytelling festival, and during the unprecedented time, VISAF ensures that the Canadian filmmakers be highlighted on virtual platforms. Isn't it exciting? And today, we're going to talk about a journey of young talent and their journey as a director, as a movie maker, as well as we'll talk about their movie which are in VISAF this year. So I'm going to talk with Siddharth Murjani, whose movie is The Interview, which is a short film segment. And then Amit Dugga, whose movie is Prisoner, which is in short film segment. And then Rami Kalo, Odd Girl, short film segment. And Andrew Cheng, White Elephant, it's a feature film. So let's welcome everyone. So I have Siddharth, Amit, Rami, and Andrew. Welcome everyone.
Thank you.
How are we all doing?
Yeah, thank you.
It's really weird, right? It's virtual this year, and event is happening this year virtual as well. So you excited about it?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's
Nice.
good.
Go on.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Nice. So let's start with your film. So I'll start with Siddharth. So Siddharth, tell me about your film. Why did you make this film? And how did you find this story? And what was your inspiration?
So the interview is about happiness. Basically, it's a narrative about a person going to a job interview. Instead of being questioned about the job, being questioned about where does happiness come from. This came to me when I was traveling. So I was traveling between Indonesia and India for 3 years, between 2016 and 2019. And I kept asking myself about the question of what truly makes me happy, because we are so engrossed in goal setting. I kept setting goals for myself, and every time I reach those goals, I'll be like, it's okay. So what truly makes me happy? It was the small moments in life.
Yeah.
So that's where this movie came from.
And are you interested in your film direction from initial, or you were an actor before? How did it start? Tell us more.
So I started in acting. I went to Vancouver Film School. I graduated from the acting program in 2014. I started creating my own content in 2016 because I felt that there's a lot of stories I had that I wanted to tell, but it wasn't being told. And it's always like philosophy, these kind of themes. So I started writing, started teaching myself how to write screenplays. From there, I started creating my own content. Yeah.
That's nice. I'll go to Amit. Amit, how you started, how you find that story, and what was your inspiration?
Basically, my inspiration for Prisoner was I had wanted to tell a story about Indo-Canadian gang violence, which is a recurring issue in our society, unfortunately.
Yes.
But
yes.
The thing is, it's been done beautifully by other directors who have taken it with the emotional drama route. And, I'm a fan of action, and I wanted to, always do action. And unfortunately, with my film school, I went to Capilano University. They were really strict about what kind of film style. So Prisoner was actually my first film post film school. And the thing is, I want to tell a story that kind of says violence is good, if that makes sense, or to glorify it fully. So I did some research on some other Canadian Indian film pertaining to gang violence, and unfortunately, I found those films, some of them, they were showing that, it's cool to be in the gang life and it's cool to be violent and stuff, but I didn't want to tell a story like that. I wanted to tell, have the action entertaining, but also there needs to be, the core story is lost. There needs to be that realistic, element of the story as well. And, that's kind of, with the title itself, Prisoner, that's saying that, the core story is dealing, loss due to your actions in the gang life. So, and that's follow our protagonist from the beginning to the end of the story.
That's more connecting with the young generation, I mean, right?
Yeah.
That's nice. And Rami, if I'll ask you about your film, why did you make that film?
So I was inspired by my own experiences in high school. The film itself follows a high school student whose best friend starts getting followed by the lonely outcast, the odd girl. And at first things are annoying, but then later her intentions get more malicious. And the reason that I made it a supernatural thriller is because I really wanted to highlight feelings of loneliness, depression, jealousy in high school. And I felt like the only way that I could actually show that was to kind of put a supernatural twist on it. Because I think when you're in high school, you feel all of these feelings so deep, and it feels like life or death. And so I wanted to make a story that would signify life and death and put a supernatural spin on it.
That's interesting. So if I'll ask Andrew, why you make that film? Because that's a feature film, and it's a biggest this season when you make a feature film instead of making a short film.
The project actually came about from an art exhibition that was happening in Markham, Ontario. And the art exhibition was about artists who were supposed to tackle communities that weren't necessarily their own and collaborate with those communities. So I chose the South Asian community because clearly I'm not from India. But actually, funny enough, my parents are from India. They were born and raised there. So that's the reason why I chose the community, because I felt like I had a strong kinship with the community, and I understood the culture very well, and I grew up around it a little bit because my parents are pretty much as Indian as I am Canadian. So they were born and raised there. So my dad speaks a little bit Hindi as well. But yeah, I also grew up around a lot of Indians in high school because I grew up in Scarborough and Markham, and we have large Indian populations here. So I grew up around brown people, so it was like something very natural to me. So like the film itself is based on a lot of my high school experiences, because the neighborhood I grew up in was like predominantly brown and black. So I'm just very used to being around the South Asian community. So I felt I could portray the community authentically, and I also collaborated with them as much as possible. Like all the actors were big parts in developing the characters. And I did a lot of research, interviewing a lot of Indian people that grew up around that time, which the film takes place in the 90s. But yeah, it's just based on my high school experience in terms of like figuring out your cultural identity on top of your teenage identity, because it's already a time where in your adolescence where you're trying to figure yourself out. So that extra layer of figuring out your cultural identity in a Western society was something else I wanted to explore.
That is really nice. And if I'll talk about challenges, what was your biggest challenge making the movie?
Is this for all of us? Oh, for me? Okay. Yeah. The biggest challenge was money, which is always the biggest challenge, right? Like
yes, always, yes.
Yeah. So like us being like making a feature, obviously you need a lot more money. So that was always a challenge. Like we were really scraping together as much as we can with the resources that we had to tell the story that we wanted to tell. Yeah, 100%. So, but yeah, that was the biggest one.
So I'll go back to Rumi. Rumi, what was your biggest challenge as a girl making a movie? You face any challenges in your way?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, like that in itself was the challenge, just being a girl making a movie. And it being my first movie as well. I had an amazing crew that really, really believed in me, but when I initially started, I didn't really have that support system around me. And I felt like some of my opinions were shut down, and like it took me a while to find my footing and to find the right crew. And I think once I found the right crew, which was like a combination of women and very respectable men, like Andy Wong, Farhad Gaderi. I just have to say those names because they were so respectful and they truly believed in the vision and in me. And when I got to work with them, that's when the challenges kind of diminished and the fun like skyrocketed because it was the right team.
When you are on the right path, things will happen on your way. But the challenges, you said you have challenges, but that movie, how long you take to make that one movie?
It didn't take too long. I think July and August of 2019, I think, is when the planning started, but honestly, nothing got done in the summer. And so it was like 3 months of actual preparation, September, October. We shot it in November. And then the rest of it was just editing, which took about 3 months. So from conception to post-production, it took about 6 months.
Very nice. And going back to Amit, what was your biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge was having a tiny crew because we had a crew of about 10 or so people, even under that, I think, and just all of us, taking on multiple hats. Like I had my makeup team, but they were also stepping in, holding lights, and like occasionally setting up stuff. And I had my sound guy setting up stuff, and then I was acting, directing, producing. I did stunts. I drove the truck with all the equipment. And it's honestly, we were all running off of about 3-4 hours sleep each night. It was about a 5-day shoot.
Wow.
And yeah, honestly, I'm just so grateful that I had an amazing group of people to tell the story with me. Because honestly, I wouldn't even be at this for anything without them. So the film's all for them. So.
Nice. And Siddharth, what was your biggest challenge?
I think what Rami and Amit said, and also second, and what Andrew said was, we had like a tiny crew. When I say tiny, it was like not even 5 people.
Wow.
Again,
How
I was
manage
also.
Then?
Sorry.
How you manage with the 5 people?
You just got to do what you got to do, right?
Yes.
When I saw the first cut of my film, I said, no one in this world will ever see this film. I'm just going to delete it. My editor, Brandon McKinney, who was this kid who just loved film, he was like, yo, give me 3 months. 3 months later, he sent me, I'm like, okay, we have something here. Then we went to the sound editor, we started fixing, we started playing with it. I was like, okay, now we have something. So initially when I saw the cut, I was like, okay, it's just a good experience making this, but no one will ever see this. But like Brendan, he was a DOP and the editor, and he's like, let's do this. And then we put sound in it, and we had so many issues in post-production that it took from writing it, from an idea to writing it to final sending it to festivals. The whole process for a short film that's 15 minutes, it took me 1 year, which is a long time, short film.
Wow.
But,
and was it your first film?
Sorry?
Was it your first film?
It was the first film that I wrote, directed, and acted in and produced.
And how was the experience with the other actors on the set? Because you said it's only 4 or 5 people, but how was the experience with them?
So it was good because the other actor actually didn't have acting experience, was never in front of a camera, so she trusted me, and I was just like, okay, just pretend like the camera's not there. Camera's your friend. It's nothing to be scared about. So we played it slowly, took our time, and it worked out well. Yeah.
Very nice. And going back to Andrew, what was your experience with actors on the set? Because I know there are many people in your movie, The White Elephant.
It was great. Like, I was very lucky to find the cast that we did. Like, most of them are new actors, so they're all very young. Like, I think at the time that we shot, like, most of them were 17, 18 years old. The oldest actor is, I won't say her age, but she's the lead. The lead was our oldest actor. But yeah, they were all like super talented. They brought so much to the table for the film, so I was just extremely happy about it.
After making the movie, after whole process, one thing you learn about making the movie, the feature film?
Um, one thing I learned, features are 10 times harder than shorts. Like you're just shooting way more, and there's just so much more things you're juggling. It's grueling, right? Like doing shorts is tough, but then you jump into this and you think, like, I have the experience, it might be easier, but it's not. It only gets harder, like, so. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I learned. I think next time, I think I'll just go into it with a much more relaxed attitude, because it can be stressful when you're making a film that long.
That's nice. And Ruby, what was your experience with other actors on the set?
Oh, I love them. I had the best actors on my set. I'm still really good friends with all of them. We spent 3 days casting, and after we saw like 100 people, maybe more, we just knew that we had picked the right people. And after this film, like, they've all been doing so well. Like one's like a recording on Riverdale, one's on Julie and the Phantoms. Like, their career just skyrocketed, and I'm so happy for them.
Since it's your first film, Ruby, what did you learn about making a film? Because there is a hustle making a cast, and then giving them roles, directing them. So how hard do you feel, and what did you learn about that?
It was really hard, and I think the big thing that I learned is that it's okay to want to get everything perfect, but there's a certain point where you have to let other people do the work for you. Like, I'm such a control freak. I want things done a certain way, but there's only so much that you can do, because at the end of the day, you're going to burn yourself out. You have to have people that you trust to do those things for you.
Were you a strict director?
I think so. I think that when it came to like the lines and what I wanted, I was very, very, I wouldn't say strict as in rude, but I was very like persistent on what I wanted. Yeah.
Amit, how was your experience with the other actors on set? As you mentioned that there are very few people on the set, like 4 or 5 people, but still, how was the experience?
It was fantastic, because honestly, a lot of the actors in the film are friends of mine, and some of them have become friends of mine. So, it's great having that. And, honestly, I really like to communicate a lot. So, I talk with them in private, and, discuss the scene, and discuss, how they're feeling about it, or if they have any input they want to put in. Or especially one thing with this film was I made sure they were very comfortable with a lot of the things they had to do. So, and they were great. They were like, oh yeah, we'll let you know, but so far everything's fine. So, but no, it was, yeah. I mean, I always like to have input from everybody on set, because to me, in the end, director is just a name. The film is the whole teams, not just the directors.
It's teamwork, yes.
So, and honestly, a lot of the things in the film, they were suggestions from some of the crew. And I really liked it, and it worked in the end. So, honestly, I think just having communication is like probably the most important thing for not only just working with actors, but working with crew as well, right?
What one thing did you learn after the movie?
It is definitely harder outside of school. Like, I mean, equipment was easy because I work for William F. White's. It's a film equipment company, and they're fantastic. They really helped us out a lot. But in terms of like, everything we learned from film school, now we have to put it to the test kind of thing. Like, dealing with insurance and dealing with like contracts and stuff like that. Like, that was probably definitely the biggest thing I learned. And I'm kind of glad that finally, because every film is learning, right? So I'm glad I both experiences away and can apply them.
Nice. And Siddharth, as you said that you love every aspect of filmmaking, as you said, from the birth of an idea and then writing a script and shooting it, editing it. What level you think it's critical? As you mentioned that post work is like a little bit critical, but writing a script is critical or editing is critical?
Oh, both is critical.
Everything is critical.
Yeah, because the thing is, you can have amazing editing software. You can have amazing DOP. You can have amazing camera. But if you have no story, if
Yes.
there's no story to tell, then
Yes.
what are you gonna tell? Like, you know. So what I like to do is when I'm in my writing mode, is just I close the world off. I become an introvert. Then once I start the casting or like the directing part, my extrovert side comes out. Promoting the film, my extrovert side comes out. You know, it's like there's making a film from start to finish involves so many different parts of me. Like I'm sure the other filmmakers can talk about it as well. That it's such a challenge, but it's also exciting. So much fun.
Nice. And if I'll ask Andrew a question, Andrew, do you like a short film or a feature film? Because you have experience doing short film as well. So now you are making, you made a feature film. So how was experience doing a feature film?
I mean, I like doing both. Obviously, shorts I can kind of get ideas out there quicker because it's shorter form, but features will take years and years and years to really develop. But yeah, I mean, I can't say I really choose one or the other. I mean, I actually think that shorts, in some ways, in terms of storytelling, are much more difficult because they're short, right? Like you don't have screen time to really like flesh out characters and develop things, thoroughly. So I find that the short form, like writing format, is actually more difficult. So, but I tried to do both. So I've done a few shorts. So this is my first feature. So I might do a short again just to give myself a break from taking on a huge project. But yeah, I like them both.
What part do you find critical? It's an idea, writing a script, or editing a whole movie. So which level you think is critical?
My answer is the same as Siddhartha's. So like it's for me it's all story, right? Like my background in training is actually in screenwriting. I actually went to the Vancouver Film School as well. That's my Vancouver.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I studied the screenwriting program there. So my training is in writing. I actually teach writing. So even though I direct quite a bit, like my focus is always on the writing. Like if you don't get it right in the script first, there's no point in going to production with it. So yeah, it's always writing first.
That's nice. Rami, you are a professional actor as well, a
Yeah.
publisher, a writer as well, award-winning director from Vancouver, BC as well. So what does award means to you?
Awards are just nice to get, but I don't think they're the reason that I do what I do. I like telling stories, and I love working with film people, and I like being in flow state as an artist. So when your work gets appreciated every now and then, it's great. It's really nice.
I think it encouraged you more.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does encourage me. And what encourages me more than the award is just being up with other nominees that are so good. Because I don't think awards are objective. Like, like one person liked the script more than the other person. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm the best, but it does mean that I get to be up there with the other people that I really respect.
Did you write the script of your movie?
Yes, yeah.
So you did acting as well?
I didn't act in this one because we had a big cast. We had 9 people, so I wanted to really focus on the directing.
Nice. Amit, you are an actor as well. So you are director, actor, writer, producer, and model as well. So what do you like the most?
Well, that's a good question.
Hard to choose?
I can't say I like all of them the same, do I?
So initially you
mean-
were an actor, or initially you were a director or a writer. Initially, what you like to do?
Initially, I was directing. I went to school for film, and I always wanted to be an actor as well, but with the Capitano University Film Program, I didn't know how to make films. I wanted to learn how to actually make films rather than just acting, right? So it was a 4-year program. So like the first and second year, I kind of focused more on the directing and the writing, and then I focused in the third year on producing, and then my graduation film in the fourth year, I kind of put it all together. I put in the acting and the directing and the writing and producing, and to see exactly how I'd like it. Like, let's say, it doesn't turn out well. Like, I graduate and it doesn't turn out well, if that makes sense, right? So that's what I liked about the film program was, you can really experiment exactly with what you want to do and how you want to be perceived as. And then, once you're out in the real world, then, you can put it all together. So I thought, that was a great experience to just kind of find my voice, if that makes sense. Because honestly, everyone finds their voice at their own pace. But I think, me personally, the earlier you find it, the better. Because then when you start networking more, people see how you want to be seen, if that makes sense.
So what is your favorite genre?
Action.
Action. Oh, definitely. So what, in your opinion, is the most important quality in a film director?
In a film director? Probably, a clear understanding and vision.
Perfect.
And because I think, me with filmmaking, I believe in every film needs to have a message. So like it can be entertaining and be fun to watch, but at the end of the day, once the film's over, you need to have taken something away from it. And if it's something you can apply in your everyday life, that's even better. Something you can really, right? So
nice. And what type of movie you want to make in future? Because you already said you like action movie, but in future, what you planning to do?
My plan is I'd love to make more action films, of course, but I think just as an actor should experiment, director should experiment as well. So like I'd love to work on comedy. I've done a few dramas already, so I'll stay with the dramas. I don't have to do comedy. My next script actually is a slasher thriller. So I think it's all about experimentation. So really, I'd love to try all genres, honestly.
Nice. And going back to Siddharth, what is your favorite movie genre?
I agree with Amit, but my favorite is comedy. I just finished shooting in January, which Amit was in. Luckily, just before COVID hit, I finished shooting a comedy that takes place in Valentine's Day, and a single guy goes in and has a reservation. That's the plot.
Oh, nice. So, is that your future movie? Are you working on other movies as well?
I'm working on several projects as well. There's auditions now going on a lot. I'm also working on my first feature and developing a TV series. So those,
nice. That's more work doing a TV series, isn't it?
Yeah, but like Andrew said, when you have feature film and you have short films, and in TV series you can take your time in developing the characters because you can build that arc for however many episodes you want. So I've done so much research in this series that I'm just like, I'm just enjoying writing, just where I want characters to go and stuff.
Nice. And what, in your opinion, is the most important quality in a film director?
The ability to listen and to work with different people. Because everyone has a different personalities, especially actors. You have to be sensitive enough to their needs. Because the thing is, as an actor myself before, I understand that when you're acting in front of the camera, you're being vulnerable, right? And sometimes people don't see that. People just see, they're just acting, just doing whatever. But to be able to show your emotions in public and people judge you for that, people criticize you for that, you have to be able to have a safe space to explore. And for me, it's a director's job to create that safe space on set.
Andrew, so what will be your favorite genre?
My favorite genre? I mean, I love all genres, but my tendency is always to write drama. But I do love sci-fi and horror as well. So that's usually, if I write anything else, it's sci-fi or horror. But I love comedy and everything else.
What type of movies you want to make in future? Like you are going to make a feature films, or you will work on short films?
I want to do sci-fi horror stuff. I want to do more of that. Like I've done pretty much only dramas. Like I did one short that was a zombie film, but it was kind of like a drama more than a horror film. So I think I want to do more of that in the future.
So the same question, in your opinion, is the most important quality in a film director?
I think they took all my ideas already. Like that's, I would say the
Use
same
your
exact.
ideas.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that what both Amit and Siddharth said, which is like, knowing how to communicate well, and just communicating with any type of person from all walks of life, different personalities. I often attribute it to like being a sports coach, right? Like when you're a coach, you have to know how to communicate with everybody. Not everybody reacts to the same type of reinforcement. Sometimes people like negative reinforcement. Some people like positive reinforcement. You don't know how people will respond, right? So you really have to read people's personalities and know how to handle them based on that. So it's being very adaptable.
Nice. So Rumi, what's your favorite genre?
Mine is thriller. That's all I make. One day I'll make something else, but so far thrillers
So what's
are
your future plans then?
So I have a feature thriller in the works, and then another thriller that I just made.
Nice.
And then eventually I have a script that I actually want to make about the partition that happened.
Yes.
And that won't be a thriller. That would be a weird thriller. So it'll be a drama. Yeah.
So in your opinion, is the most important quality of a film director would be?
Amit, Siddharth, and Andrew, they pretty much said it. Like, I completely agree with them. And I also just want to add that I think there's a certain mentality that you need as a director, where I think that a director should know every single thing about a script. And if they don't know, then they should be willing to explore it rather than rejecting any new ideas that come up. So I think just that openness is really important.
It's really nice to talk to you about your film, about your experience. But last not the least, what advice would you give to someone who wanted to have a life-creating film? So I'll start from Andrew.
My advice would be just do it, right? Like I think a lot of it is just action. It's just, everybody wants and dreams of certain things and they have these ideas, but I think it's more than anything else, it's just to go out and do it.
Nice. And Rumi, what do you want to say?
I would say don't take yourself too seriously, because the minute that you start thinking it's going to be the next big thing and the best project, you get into perfectionism and then you don't get anything done. So I think you just have that level of ease and it'll make things easier.
What do you want to say to the viewers?
Me?
Yes.
I want to say hi. What I mean? Thank you for watching the film festival. Please go check out Odd Girl. I know you're going to like it. It's only 30 minutes of your time. So if you don't like it, that's 30 minutes. That's not too much of a waste.
Thank you, Rumi. And I'll go to Amit. Amit, what will be your advice?
Honestly, like Andrew said and Rumi said as well, just go for it. And, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Not everything needs expensive equipment or expensive this, expensive that. Like, things are being shot on their phones as well and look like $1 million. So, you have an idea. Everyone has a story to tell. Just go out and shoot it even on your phone. So, stopping you.
Yes, that's perfect advice, actually. And what do you want to say to the viewers?
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this F 2020. There's a lot of great film screening this year, and I hope you guys all enjoy them. So stay tuned.
So that's what you want to give advice who would someone who wanted to have a life-creating film.
listen to your gut, your instincts, and give yourself permission to be imperfect.
That's
Make
nice
mistakes.
advice.
Yeah, make mistakes and then learn from it and just keep making more mistakes and just keep going from there.
That is really nice. And what you want to say to the viewers?
Thank you for tuning in and stay safe, stay healthy, and check out the films. It's amazing films.
Andrew, what you want to say to the viewers?
Same thing. Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody enjoys the films that we saw. And check out White Elephants if you have the chance. I mean, it's a longer commitment than a short, but you know, give it a chance.
Thank you all very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we wish them all luck. VISAF 2020 happening on December 11th until December 13th. So go check their website. We'll provide you information. Keep watching Sanjha TV.